Alrighty, ESO fam! Welcome in, guys! Today, we're going to discuss the event that people either love or hate, the Undaunted Event. And while dungeons aren't everyone's cup of tea, today we're going to cover a few survival tips for those who just want to get through this event as painlessly as possible. And for those that consider themselves more of dungeon enthusiasts, we're also going to cover a few tips for thriving during this year's Undaunted event. So with that, let's jump into it. For those of you just wanting to survive and get this event over with and get your tickets, let's talk about a couple things you can prep for your sanity. Before you hop into the dungeon of your choice, regardless of role, you should consider slotting a solid self-heal that doesn't involve you dealing damage to proc it, considering something like Vigor. This is due to the rampant problem during this event where people who aren't tanks or healers join dungeons as these roles, despite not slotting a taunt or a skill to heal allies. So look out for yourself with a solid heal skill and some potions on your quick bar. Now that you've gotten that minimal prep out of the way, now for the actual dungeon run you have to do in order to get your ticket. If you want to just quickly get your daily dungeon, keep an eye on zone or guild chat or check the activity finder tab for people saying looking for more, looking for group, or Fungal Grotto, or FG. Some iteration of this in the chats. These are others typically just looking for a quick run of Fungal Grotto to get their daily tickets. Most players consider Fungal Grotto to be the easiest dungeon due to it being accessible to players starting at level 10 and the fact that you only have to kill 2 of the bosses in the dungeon to even complete it. One thing to make note of is do try to avoid looking for Fungal Grotto farm. If people say farm, they're typically looking for more than one run. So if you're only looking to do one run, don't go for the groups looking for farming Fungal Grotto. If you don't see anyone asking in chats, you can always queue for normal Fungal Grotto using the in-game dungeon queue system. The queue should pop pretty fast with others also looking for an easy dungeon run. Now that you're in the dungeon, you can quickly assess if the group is going to go one of 2 ways. One, there'll be a normal dungeon group with a tank that groups up trash packs and kills at least the first 2 bosses before jumping off the cliff, swimming and parkouring up the ledge to the last boss. Or, option number 2, which is probably going to be more likely, they will be speedrunners. Meaning, as soon as they load in, they will start running. With this type of group, you are going to need to do your best to keep up with whoever's leading the charge. They will most likely be a fake tank that is running past all the mob enemies to get to the second boss room ASAP. If enemies are preventing you from running forward, remember you can roll dodge through them, and also pop your self-heal and potions as needed. By the time you get to the second boss, they will probably already have it dead, so just keep following them. They are going to jump off the waterfall, swim across the water to where the last boss is, and watch where they jump up and do your best to get up on this ledge. You just need to be in proximity to make sure you can loot that final boss. Hence why it's so important to make sure that you stay close enough to whoever is leading the charge so that you're in proximity to get credit and to get your tickets and get your loot box for the event. And that is how to mostly anguish-free complete the Undaunted event and get your daily tickets. And you can just leave. You don't have to interact with the event any more than that. Now, for those of us that consider ourselves a little more adventurous and even dungeon enthusiasts, there are more rewards you should keep an eye out for, with 4 key areas. The first is from the Undaunted event boxes, you can get new style pages. You can also additionally get a chance for dungeon motifs like those from more difficult dungeons like Scrivener's Hall and Coral Airy, you could get Opal monster-style weapon pages and additional loot from the Undaunted boxes themselves. This is why many people do at Fungal Grotto farming to get more of these motifs and style pages. Second, along with the prior rewards from the Undaunted boxes, you can get increased dungeon gear drops. You will of course get your regular curated pieces of gear from all the bosses, with specifically the last boss giving you weapon or jewelry pieces. In addition to this, the Undaunted Event box you loot from the final boss will give you another curated piece of gear. I recommend making sure to bind the pieces of gear you still need to collect from the dungeon prior to opening the Undaunted Event box to ensure the piece of gear you are going to receive is still needed for your sticker book collection. The item is not determined until you open the box, so no peeking before you bind the gear. For those on PC, consider getting the add-on Loot Log. It has many great features that I covered in this video, which I'll also link in the description below. But the key one here is an auto bind command you can invoke for easy gear binding. The third thing you should keep an eye out for during the Undaunted event is if you run any of the following dungeons on Veteran difficulty, you have a chance for Monster Helm style pages to drop. These in particular aren't too awful, with all of them being base game, so consider trying your hand at farming these for a chance at these style pages for the limited time during the Undaunted event. And finally, for those of you flush with keys, the corresponding shoulder style pages for those monster mask style pages will be for sale from the Undaunted vendors. And this year, you will get double key rewards from pledges completed throughout the duration of the Undaunted celebration. So whether you want to buy those shoulder style pages or you need to get different shoulder gear pieces, it's a great time to stock up on Undaunted keys. And there you have it, some quick tips for either surviving or thriving during this year's Undaunted event. I hope y'all have as much fun as I do during this event, and maybe those who don't consider themselves dungeon enthusiasts maybe get a taste for the dungeon bug like some of us that really enjoy them. But if nothing else, get your ticket, and I hope it's not completely miserable, and that these tips helped you to enjoy it a little bit better. And if you guys learned something new, make sure to like the video, and if you want to stay up to date for more tips and tricks in The Elder Scrolls Online, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to hang out with us live, we're over on Twitch multiple days a week. Nothing else, y'all have a lovely day and an enjoyable Undaunted celebration. Bye!